KR230, lesson number 4, circular.
Welcome to How to Knit Circular on the KH230. This leads down the rabbit hole of socks. So, does the KH230 knit circular? Of course it does. The key to knitting circular on the KH230, let's read all about it. Circular knitting is made up of only plain knit stitches. It is a jointless tube. The size of the tube depends on the number of needles. So you set the carriages to KH, lever plain, tension 0, same arrangement, needle arrangement, racking indicator H3, arrange needles and purl needles into B position on each bed. Note the number of needles between plain and purl needles must be the same. Move the connected carriage a few times over the arranged needles and set them in a line, then place the carriage on the right end of the bed. Thread the cast-on thread provided in the accessories into the yarn feeder. So in this case, we're going to use waste yarn. Hang on the cast-on comb. This is the same as 1x1 rib. Hang on the weights as per standard weights chart on page 13. So you are in H3, so that's half pitch 3. So they are offset. You can see here they are offset. Remove the cast-on thread from the yarn feeder and rethread the knitting yarn into the feeder. After knitting 3 or 4 rows, set the pressers and the needle stoppers. Oh, it does say you are supposed to use the pressers. Well, that's interesting. Set the carriages as shown in the figure. So PR to one and plain the other, and you have to manually change the main bed to PR every time you are on the left-hand side of the bed. Nope. When you are on the right-hand side of the bed, you set it to PR and you knit to the left. Take it out. You have to manually do this every single time. If you don't, you will get a closed tube and it will end poorly. All right, so let's demonstrate that. All right, I raided one of my knitting boxes. Found some cast-on thread. Oop-a-doo. There we go. That's how hard it is to knit with cast-on thread. These are together. On goes the cast on. Alright, we have it pretty well set up. So that was our first row. Back out she comes. So we have knit across, cast on thread from the yarn feeder, rethread the knitting yarn into the feeder. After knitting 3 or 4 rows, set in the pressers and the needle stoppers. Well, I'm not putting in the needle stoppers because I don't have them anymore. I'm going to tension 4. PR on the ribber, going to the right, putting in my thread. I'm going to hold on to my thread, taking a deep breath. I am now knit on the top. PR. Knit on the bottom. Plain. PR. Plain. PR. Plain. PR. Plain. PR. Plain. PR. Plain. PR. Plain. And there we go. One fancy dancy little tube. Now, take off all your weight so they don't end up on your feet. So, knitting both ends. Take that out of the feeder so it doesn't try and knit itself. And there we have a tube just like the picture shows. Now just remember that every single row counts as a half. You need 2 swipes of the carriage for each row of circular knitting. Or tubular knitting, if you want to get fancy. How do we take off the tube? Well, we make sure that you secure those open yarn loops before you very nicely pull on that yarn. Okay. This is quite a pain in the butt. But I need my thread back. Okay, and there it is. It's all out. And now we can recycle this project. All done. That knitting.
Next lesson, English rib.